to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. Make yourself famous. A podcast covering all things WWE.
I have now returned to save the WWE.
NXT.
The beautiful part of NXT is that when one dream ends, another dream begins.
And AEW.
Holy wrestling. I couldn't be more happy.
Here are your hosts, Kyle Gagliardi and Jim Tucker.
What is going on, everyone? You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, hosted by the Marks, for the Marks, and I am your host, Mr. OTM, Kyle Gagliardi, and my co-host is my good friend, Jim Tucker, or as I like to call him, Tucky!
What's going on? Excited to be back. 2-man booth, potentially 3-man booth. We'll see what happens. Let's get weird tonight, right? Backlash, love it.
Backlash was awesome. Did you enjoy it? I know you were out of town. You got to watch it live, right?
Oh, yeah. I got to watch it live by myself. No distractions. Enjoyed some of the Earth's vitamins and had a great time. And one part of a belt. I don't know what part I get, but we'll talk
the
about
OTM bloodline. I want to see the ones in the chat. Acknowledge your PLE champions. We are 2/4 of the OTM PLE champions. Ian, Ryan Vogus. Yeah, clap it up for ourselves. You know, we're not going to brag or anything.
The Mount Rushmore of OTM dripping in gold. You love to see it.
You do love to see it, and it was very fitting that all four of us won. I know you, unfortunately, weren't with us, but I had the boys over. Ryan Vogus, Ian were over for Backlash. We really enjoyed it. I want to hear what the people in the chat have to say about WWE Backlash, but let's get to that chat, Tuck, because it is popping off already. Robbie Collins in the house. He said it's been a while. Hello, Robbie. How we doing? Pat in the house as well, giving us a woo!
Oh, yeah.
And guess what time it is, Tucky?
Yep.
It's Tino's time.
Tino's time.
And we got an acknowledgement from Pat, by the way, the former PLE champion. Tuck, what shirt are you wearing? I don't think I've ever seen that on you. Oh, you got that when we were there.
Oh, yeah. This was a Superstore purchase of many. Okay. In the chat, is 5 T-shirts from WrestleMania too much?
I don't think so. We're not going to put a money dollar on that because I don't want to spread the word that you spent X amount.
People watching tried to use the OTM company card. Couldn't find it.
The OTM company card declined me as well. Whoa. And it looks like the chat says it's not enough. Robbie said 5 is not enough. Pat said 5 is too little. So
looks like
how
I'm
you
going to
feeling?
go next year. Look, I missed the stat she's in. Wants to go to Philly, freeze her butt cheeks off in the outdoor stadium in April, but I'm here for it.
I'm here for it too, and it looks like somebody else is here for the party. So I'm just going to put this on the record. There is a chance I have to dip in this podcast because work stuff is hitting the fan right now. So if I'm a little off, I apologize in advance. But the real job comes before the part-time job. And speaking of part-timers, let's bring him in, ladies and gentlemen. He is the part-time co-host of OTM, Ian Garvalia. Hello. Yeah.
What's up, boys? I feel a little weird. What's up with this layout? I'm like stuck in between some names here. Okay.
How does that feel?
Hey, I feel a little bit more spacious. I like
and
that.
Look at that. Our names popped up and everything. Ian, how you doing this evening?
Hey, we're doing. Just got back from a baseball game. Ran back basically, and game did not go too well. But we're on the podcast, so can't complain now.
Who'd you play?
Hebron got no hit.
LeBron James.
Not great, Bob.
Getting no hit is not good. If you don't know what anything about baseball, that is one of the worst things that could happen to your team right there. But the good news is, Ian, you watch Backlash. You're here on the podcast. Are you ready to do this damn thing?
I'm ready.
All right. But before we do, we got to talk about our wonderful website that we got at the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.com. You can get yourself some fantastic OTM merch. Support the show. Go to the website. No promo code this weekend, but there are some pay-per-views coming up. I know Double or Nothing's coming up, which Tucky will be at. Night of Champions is on the horizon as well. So if you want to wait it out a little bit, go ahead. But we would appreciate it if you checked it out this week at the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.com. And before we get into the WWE Backlash review, Ryan Vogus in the chat saying hi, Tuck. Just to you, Tuck.
Hello, Ryan Vogus. Now the bloodline that is the OTM PLE champs all together. We run this shit. You're welcome. We're going to have to figure out what to do next PLE, though. Like,
yeah, we might need a tiebreaker.
Do we all start with a +1 bonus, or is it like you have to beat all four of us? Or if the four of us retain, like straps could come off the bloodline, you know, like what story are we talking about?
Dirk Vogus, don't worry. Did my comment go through? It did go through, Dirk, but when we got a lot of comments rolling in, it's hard to keep up with everything. He said one of the top. Yeah, shout out to Dirk. Appreciate you, sir. One of the top 5 pay-per-views beginning to end that I've ever seen. Okay, wow. A very interesting take, but I like it. It was a very good show.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm glad he enjoyed it because we definitely did. Let's get to it then, guys, though, with the first match here to kick off WWE Backlash. It started off surprisingly hot with a pro Io Sky crowd in her match against Bianca Belair, and these two women proved why they're two of the most talented women's wrestlers in the entire world.
I agree. Gave them plenty of time, put the spotlight on them, and I was also intrigued that Io was getting kind of outshining Bianca a little bit. Bianca walks away with the gold, but one got over and one's getting over, or over and get over, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Even in a loss, Io shined in this one. With the crowd being behind her, Ian, that had to be a little bit surprising to you, right? Because it seemed probably 70-30 for Io fans in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, and I think that just kind of builds into hopefully a Bianca heel turn at some point. And a lot of people are calling for like an audible of Io should have won the title. That should have been the spot where she wins it. And as much as I want to agree with that, just because of the crowd, it's like, if anything, there should be an audible, hey, Bianca, we need you to turn heel here. Because the reaction you could get from that, I mean, you had Damage Control interfering with the match, and they were still getting a tremendous pops. So
yeah,
that was something that wasn't really pointed out, but altogether, that was one of the best female matches I've watched in a while, which is awesome because it shows that Io is ready to go in the singles career.
Io's the real deal. We got to see her shine in NXT as a single star, and now it looks like she's kind of breaking out of her shell here on the main roster. And I think this is something, Tuck, that we could probably say for every match, that the crowd maybe made it a little better than what it was, but it still was really good in ring. And Ian talked about that Damage Control, distraction involvement in this finish. Bayley was holding Bianca's hair. The ref catches it, and that's really the reason why Io loses this match. Is this just more cracks into Damage Control? You think Io's going to be that single star after this?
I don't know if it's immediately after this, but they've definitely shown us kind of the road I think they're heading down. Division among Damage Control. They are not controlling the damage within themselves, some would say.
Some would say that. Let's go to the chat real quick, though. Robbie Collins said, great kickoff match. Genuinely not being biased because I'm not a fan of Bianca, but I really did think Io would have won. And that was the cool thing about it, because when I was watching it with Ian, there were a couple moments in that match where we were buying in, right? Like there was a chance that Io could have won that title right there.
Yeah, no, genuinely. And I think that's what really got people behind Io was, I mean, they built that match so perfectly. I don't know if they were expecting the crowd to be behind Io, or if it was just built on the fly. But I mean, that match was shown to show off Io. If that makes any sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. And if you guys were to guess who produced that match, do you think you have a guess?
I'm gonna say Triple H.
No, Triple H doesn't do any of the producing of the matches. Tuck, really? Do you know?
No.
TJ, Natalia's husband, TJ Wilson, produced this match. I mean, he's very good at putting together some of the best women's matches in recent history. So shout out to him and shout out to everybody on this card, because I thought every match, served its purpose. Pat agrees with us. He said, great match. Let's keep this feud going. I want to see another match where Io comes out on top. And Tuck, do you think that we could potentially see a rematch at Night of Champions? Would you like to see it?
Yeah, probably. I don't know who's next. Like,
Yeah.
I would like to run that back and see how that goes. Yeah.
Ryan Vogus' comment. Bailey was holding my attention hostage too. He's talking about EO, the EO written on the back of Bailey's head. That's
Right. Yeah.
He's referring to,
Yes.
if you guys didn't know. So, yeah, definitely a hot start to WWE Backlash. And it continued, honestly, with this match between Seth Rollins and Omos. Seth Rollins picks up the win in this one. And some people actually thought Omos was going to win. I don't know why, because it's the same formula that we've been seeing with him over the past couple months, maybe even years. But Seth Rollins picking up the win here, Tuck, makes a lot of sense with what we saw on Monday Night Raw and him advancing to that World Heavyweight Championship match.
Yeah, I thought the match was actually better than the build. Omos. I think this is Omos.
What build?
Omos's best.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. I think this is Omos's best match, and I think Rollins has a lot to do with that as well. But I think it shows Omos can go a little bit more. Like, I think they're trying to continue to stretch him. He's too big of a dude to be unimpressive. He's just, I think they put him on the main roster too soon because of that. And he's trying to play catch up a little bit, but I enjoyed it.
Ian, if you had to guess, how long do you think this match was?
Shoot. Less than 10 minutes. 10 minutes max.
It went just over 10 minutes, which is surprising to me for an Omos match.
I was going to say this. I started noticing this with Omos. Anytime you bring a new guy up, like, he's young. He's a young dude.
Very.
And I think he's just going against all these veterans. I mean, Seth's a veteran, which is weird to say, but and it's just kind of get a feel of because this reminded me of like Dolph Ziggler going down to NXT and feeling out Braun Breaker with that title run. And he said on a podcast it was his instructions were to feel Braun out and see if he's ready for the main roster. And that's kind of what I feel like Omos's little run is here. Is just kind of you have Lesnar going at him. I mean, he's been around the industry for a long time. You have Rollins, same exact thing, and it's probably that feeler. Like from the outside perspective, it's detrimental to Omos, but really it's not because he's going against incredibly
top talent.
Yes, correct. So I hopefully at some point, I wouldn't say anytime soon, Omos will get some kind of push and kind of be made into a monster.
Yeah.
But, who knows? With MVP on his side, I love watching him.
I think it's going to take time to build Omos back up. Tuck, do you got something you want to add on to what Ian was saying?
Yeah, I was on mute. Toby's he has forgot that I am home still. So he's getting a little vocal.
Toby's getting up there in age. That's fair.
Deaf and blind. Yeah, he forgets we're in the room sometimes now. So, but Omos, great reviews as a locker room guy. Like, great dude. He's a great guy.
He's a great guy.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Cheap Heat for that one. But yeah, I think it would be fair to say that was definitely one of Omos's better matches. And if anybody's going to bring that out of him, Seth Rollins would be the guy to do so. And I don't think that curb stop off the top of the rope was a bad spot either. Like that, if you're going to finish a giant, do it off the top rope, right?
Smart.
You're going to have
and it makes
to.
And it makes Omos look stronger because a normal curb stomp, which is already, if that happens to any other superstar, it's like, all right, that's match over. To any other superstar, that looks, yeah. So you have to go off the top rope. That makes Omos look stronger in defeat.
Yeah, so Omos not getting many wins on PLEs, but like Ian said, he is facing top talent. So maybe after these losses, they'll build him right back up and maybe he'll start winning something. But let's go to the comment section once again. Pat asked, why was this match a banger? Seth can make any match with any opponent amazing. That is 100% true, Pat. Tino's time saying, I wanted Io to win so bad. I think a lot of people did, and definitely Puerto Rico did. Just not Io's time. But we talked about this too, Ian, when we were watching Backlash. Going back to Io Sky here, she seems like the number one candidate for Money in the Bank, no?
Yeah. I mean, that's if she has the faction still behind her. Because a faction with the Money in the Bank holder, when's the last time we've seen that? Besides with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins and the Authority, that was the last time I can remember. And the only time I can remember that.
Randy Orton, when he cashed in on Daniel Bryan in his match against John Cena, because he was kind of the Authority guy. But other than that, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Definitely not with a female talent.
Not with a female talent, which I think could be it's something new, and it's something. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's kind of history for the women's division, and it's something completely new. It's not some like a Carmella holding the bank or holding the briefcase and not doing anything with it. She'll be threatening with it with the whole faction behind her.
Yeah, for sure. Tuck, you in on Io winning Money in the Bank this year?
Sure.
You don't seem too thrilled behind that.
No, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it. I don't know that she's gonna need it. Like
fair. That's a fair counter.
With Bianca, I don't know that she's gonna need it to be in the title picture. So, you know, they gave it to Liv to kind of make her, but I don't know if Io's gonna need to be made in July.
And I would say that Liv was made from that. I think Liv's a big time player. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Well, I was pissed, dude. Because in my opinion, they gave the Money in the Bank. You know, like Liv Morgan's now the champion, and she's got a losing record. Like they needed the title on her to elevate her, and now she's something. You know, she's got an edge to her. She took the turn. She went extreme. Now she's got the credibility. It worked, and I was skeptical at first, but then she had something, and I don't know that Io is going to need something in July.
I actually think that makes a lot of sense, Tuck. It's hard to disagree with you there, but I'm gonna pull this comment up from Tino because I'm gonna have to step away here for a second. And this is a good question. I can't think of anybody either. He goes, I just don't know who will beat Bianca at this point.
Yeah. I agree. I don't know. I'd have to look up the Raw women's roster. I'm going to do that right now. Ian, what are your thoughts?
Well, the names that I immediately think of are kind of like the low-hanging fruit of Charlotte. You could always give Charlotte a title. You have Ronda. I think Ronda's still on Raw, or she might be an unsigned agent. Because I know there's a bunch of those that are floating in between that maybe they're waiting to attack a title. I heard thoughts of Nia Jax returning. She lost a bunch of weight and is I guess getting back into the ring is what I'm hearing and starting to train. So maybe a returning Nia Jax with a new look. I don't know.
Here's what I got for SmackDown. We got Bianca Belair, Alba Fire, Isla Dawn, Lacey Evans, Charlotte Flair, Asuka, Shotzi, Tamina.
Yeah, Charlotte. That's the only one that sticks out of that list, really. If you threw anybody at her in a feud, it would have to be Charlotte. Because, I mean, Vogus just said, you guys can't see the comment, but Charlotte and Bianca haven't feuded yet, right? Oh, you could point it out. All right.
Yeah, here we go. I don't think so.
I don't believe so. And again, that's if you want to keep with that face run with Bianca, you throw Charlotte at her that has already won a lot of titles, and no one wants to see her with the title again. So you get some more push back from Bianca with the fans.
It's a program with Charlotte Flair too, like that. I think that elevates Bianca, even though she's the champ. And I think Bianca's just been missing a compelling story with a lot of these feuds. So Charlotte's going to get something out of her. You've got the Queen versus the EST there, so I think that would be a good one.
I mean, the thing is though with Bianca, I kind of want to talk about that actually, and why Bianca's feud is kind of just fell flat. And I want to hear what you think, but I was going to say it's just kind of like that NXT call up and all about the push, and she gets the title, and now she's holding on to the title, but nothing's changing. Nothing with her character's changing. It's kind of like that John Cena, like in that midst of this is your babyface champion. The fans aren't buying it anymore. I don't know if there's any.
It's pretty vanilla. Yeah, right. And Patrick asks, isn't Bianca on SmackDown? That is correct. She is.
Okay. So,
well, Rhea and Bianca basically swap brands.
That's right. Okay.
Because Rhea was on Raw on Monday with her blue title still, so I don't know what they're doing with that. So
that's another thing. I don't understand. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Vogus. He says if they're afraid of the crowd turning on Bianca, the Charlotte feud would straighten that out. No one wants her winning. Yep. And what's next? Bianca, Io, Charlotte, triple threat.
I mean, that's something. I seriously, I hope.
I don't think Io's there yet.
No, I think she needs to break off the faction. unless because you already have that face kind of push with her. You don't want a faction behind her. It just wouldn't work.
Why don't you give him Pat's comment here?
Patrick asks or says that's more of a WrestleMania match, so we could see a build for late on the year. Yeah. I mean,
that's a big boy match. That's for sure.
What's Charlotte's status now?
I don't know. She did a Celtic Warrior workout a couple weeks ago, so she's still very vascular.
Still moving.
Yeah. Patrick also says, are they not swapping titles? It was weird on Monday, and Rhea was still holding the SmackDown title. I agree with that. Very weird. I don't know what the plan is. Vogus says, SummerSlam. I'm in.
We're in. Right. Yeah. We're going to be there, so I'm not going to complain. But I was going to say, with this whole swapping titles thing, like, I'm just going to say this draft was pointless. There was no reason. You're designating Roman to stay on SmackDown, and you have these titles that you have a Raw Women's Champion on SmackDown and a SmackDown Women's Champion on Raw. Nothing's been addressed about it. And they said teams are going to break up. You have teams staying the same. They got drafted all together. I mean, what are we doing? I don't understand.
We spoke last 2 weeks. I think it was I think last week. I think about the some of the irregularities or informalities, if you will, of the draft. Here we are. At least we're trying the distinct brand thing. We'll see what pops up. I am confused by the non-swap of titles, and Roman is pictured on the Night of Champions poster with 2 titles. Still thing. That's weird. Next, we had we got the Austin Theory match. Retains in a triple threat. Kyle Gagliardi, we missed you.
Hey, I was still able to hear you guys. You guys were able to handle things. I appreciate you filling in for me, Ian, because work is a disaster right now. But let's get to that. Let's get to that United States Championship match where Austin Theory retained, like Tuck said. Not very surprising, knowing where everybody was headed after the draft. I know we talked about that last week, that sort of telegraphed how this match was going to go. But I thought it was a good one. I'm not complaining about this match whatsoever, but I want to go to just Austin Theory himself, because we've talked about him numerous times over the past year being the future and whatnot, which he probably is. I wanted to give him a chance. I really did. I know he's a heel, and I'm supposed to dislike him, but I just don't think it's all there yet. Am I crazy with that statement? Do you guys agree with me? What's your take on Austin Theory? I just want to see if I'm alone on this take.
I think you're getting worked, brother. I think that's what's happening, because the way that Austin's been winning and retaining the title has been by cheating. Basically, he's holding on to this title.
I'm not mad about that. No, I know what's going on there. The character is.
Yeah, I agree. I'd agree. The theme song needs to go. The character needs to change.
What?
You like the whole A-Town Down?
So that might be my favorite thing about him is the theme song. Yeah.
When you hear that song, does it scream, I'm a heel, boo me?
It screams, I'm a bad motherfucker. I'm here. A-Town Down. Scream it out loud. Biatch, I'm here. Let's talk about the pecs. Let's talk about the biceps. Let's talk about the legs. Let's talk about the core. Let's talk about
Bobby
the hair.
Lashley.
We're not going to talk about the beard. We're working on that. He's working on that. I'm a Theory guy. I am in line with Sir Vogus. Yes, you're crazy. He's great.
And I agree. I think he's great too. I think what they're doing with him right now is pretty good. He's in that building stage of seeing if he is the guy. But
thumbs down in the chat if you want to poop on Gags.
That's fine. You don't have to agree with me. I don't fucking care. All right. We all like who we like. We all dislike who we dislike.
Kyle,
sorry, works.
You've had a long day at work. Let's work on it. Let's take a moment. Say something we're thankful for. Maybe mention something from Backlash that you're thankful for.
I know what I'm thankful for.
Ian, enough. Kyle.
Okay.
I am thankful for the crowd in San Juan. Very thankful.
Dude, we're back.
Yeah.
Good.
I guess we're back, guys. But the match itself. Tuck, what were your thoughts on the match as a whole?
Steady driver, didn't hurt the show, could have helped it more. Theory 1 made sense. No further comment.
Ian,
Yeah.
anything to add?
No, I think the way they did the match, it just shows that they're going to have Bobby Lashley and Theory go again at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, it did its job. Bronson, he showed what he had, and people were impressed by that, so it got him over just a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think the thing with Bronson is his character. It's awful. It is awful. It needs to go. He wears suits and then wears a singlet.
It's a disconnect.
Singlets, boys.
There's nothing there. Feed into the Australian side of him, but
Yeah.
I didn't mind the match. I think it was in a good spot. Did its job.
I'm glad you brought up the Bronson Reed thing, because I thought this was a very good showing, arguably his best showing on the main roster. He's so smooth with it. I mean, for a big guy to be that smooth is very impressive. I'm not taking anything away from his in-ring abilities. It goes back to what you were saying, Ian. We need a better character for Bronson Reed. Just being a monster in 2023, nobody cares. That does nothing. So if you get a character behind him, maybe, like you said, lean into the Australian side of things. Maybe he needs to be a babyface. Maybe that's something that would work for him on the main roster. We know he can go. It's just he needs that extra oomph. But nice to see Steve in the chat. SCW Steve said, "Gentlemen, it's been a while. Just finishing work. Gonna listen to the show driving home." Steve, appreciate you stopping by. Let's pull up Pat's
What time
count.
is it there? He's just finishing work. Poor guy.
Yeah, Steve, you got to let us know. I think he's like 7 hours ahead of us or something.
Should
like
be
that.
5, so it's probably 12:30.
Still
That's
insane.
Rough. That's rough.
We appreciate you, Steve. Pat says SmackDown has the best folks on the mic: Theory, Waller, and LA Knight. Yeah. I could listen to them argue on the mic all night. That they do. And Pat has a question. What about Theory in the World Title Tournament? They have 0%. They will 0% have another person hold 2 titles. Yeah. Theory not in the World Title Tournament makes sense to me just because he has the U.S. title. Oh, he is?
He is. That's what.
Oh, shit.
That's why he's like pointing it out. 0% chance they're going to put 2 titles on the same guy.
Gotcha.
He's in one of the triple threats on SmackDown. Mm-hmm.
Which we will talk about at the end of the show. We're going to give our picks for those 2 triple threat matches happening tomorrow night on SmackDown. But let's move on here to another match that the crowd absolutely loved, and it was Rhea Ripley versus Zelina Vega. Zelina got the home crowd behind her, the gear, the ovation, the raw emotion that came from this match. This felt like a big deal, Tuck.
Well, how relatable is Zelina after that, right? You know, a lot of times we put these athletes and sports entertainers on a pedestal as if they're living a different life than us, and we're just enjoying the ride. But with Zelina getting such a strong reaction emotionally, it made you appreciate kind of the human element. I mean, when people talk about liking wrestling, like, I think part of it is we feel like we can sway the story some, right? Like we have an impact based on what we like or don't like. And our participation at these events is indicative of what we feel is the product. And again, if you go to a Broadway play, you're getting what the play is. And the next time you see it, it's going to be the same thing. And that's different with WWE and Zelina. It was a very human moment, and I appreciated it. It was and a great match.
Yep.
Yeah, I talked about it last week. I mean, this is the perfect clash of styles right here. They gave them time to put on a show, and it's like the EO situation. Ian, Zelina is the one that loses here, but I think she's more credible now as a single star than she even was when she won Queen of the Ring.
Well, yeah, and the thing was, when I was going into this match, I was like, who cares? And I didn't know her Puerto Rican backside, and I mean, I fed into it.
Well, I mean, she does have a Puerto Rican backside, but I think you meant backstory.
Bonk.
Bonk! We're bonking Ian like crazy, brother.
No, I from the ring gear, I mean, everything. She shined during that match. She gained the hearts of a lot of people. But a lot of people saying that should have been an audible again. No, why? Never.
No, not.
No.
Come on, dog. Come on, dog.
One of the biggest names that was saying that, like, I don't know if you saw it, was Bully Ray. He said that Zelina should have won there, lost the title in a couple weeks. I just think that's too soon after Rhea just beat Charlotte at WrestleMania, no?
Come on, dude.
I mean,
don't agree.
He called for Rhea winning it back the night 2 nights after on Monday Night Raw, but even then, it's like Rhea loses her credibility. She gets a title back for what? I mean, the only way you could do that is if there's some outside interference and Rhea
From the
slips up.
Judgment Day.
It's just not. That's not possible. That can't happen. She had her moment. She shined. She walked away happy. I'm not going to speak for her, but like, seemed like she walked away happy, and no one complained.
No, I think we can make that assumption. She made a very lengthy post on her Instagram thanking the WWE Universe for their support. And I think just that in itself is going to take her to that next level. And it really wouldn't have made sense for her winning also because Rhea's now on Monday Night Raw. Zelina's with the LWO on SmackDown. So it would have just made the WWE draft even more pointless. But overall, a very good match, a great moment at WWE Backlash. Like Pat saying, let's pull up this comment. What a moment for Zelina. Love to see the real emotions. I was clapping in my basement. And I know there's a lot of people that have gone on the record saying they got emotional just seeing Zelina Vega get emotional and just representing her country like that, just from top to bottom. Good stuff there.
Well,
I was
gonna say with that, like us three, we were quiet during her entrance, and when she started crying, like we were all quiet. We didn't say a single word. We were mesmerized. It was awesome. Sorry.
Yeah, pro wrestling can be beautiful at times, and there was a lot of moments on this PLE where I was just like, wow, this is why we watch, guys. And this next match is a big reason why we watch. Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest. If this isn't on your match of the year list, you're a fucking mark. Actually, I should say you're a fucking idiot. You're a mark if you put that match on your match of the year list, like myself, because that definitely got a spot on my match of the year list. Sometimes it's not all about wrestling talk because the bells, the whistles that went into this made it feel even bigger than the match itself. It was another fantastic match here at Backlash.
And, you know, the argument of them main eventing, were they going to go on last? If they would have done that last, the roof would have probably blown off the place, you know? And shout out again to the Puerto Rico crowd. They had this match, and then they had the tag, the 6-man tag with the Bloodline and KO and Sammy and Riddle. And then they had Cody and Brock, and they stayed up the whole time. And again, not only is Bad Bunny getting mad push, mad press, mad views, Damian Priest will be elevated.
Mm-hmm. I mean, people are recognizing his work. I mean, Damian Priest had to carry. Like, that's just, I mean, Bad Bunny did, as he usually does, did really good in the ring. But I mean, there's also got to be that leniency of, I mean, Priest's been around for a while, so he had to carry him to some degree.
He's the one calling the match. I mean, let's call it how it is. He was the one controlling that match from start to finish.
You know, one thing I do want to say, Bad Bunny was supposed to be the host of the pay-per-view, but he didn't really host. He just kind of had his match, and that was it. I don't think that's been brought up yet.
Okay. Be named the host, and then be the co-main event. Like, maybe I'll just not host and just beat Damian Priest's ass.
Yeah, like, why do you have to put him on every single match graphic as the host of Backlash when all he did was just have a banger of a match? But yeah, that's a good point for me, and nonetheless. But yeah, this comment from Pat is definitely what I want to get into as well, because it obviously, you know, the stuff in ring was pretty good and Bad Bunny put on a show, but you had the LWO show up, the Judgment Day, Savio Vega, even freaking Carlito, which mega pop right there. We hadn't seen Carlito since he was in the Royal Rumble during the COVID times, which RIP, those times are very forgettable. But the Carlito moment was a very memorable one back then a couple of years ago. But Carlito showing up, representing that LWO t-shirt. I'd like to see him come back in a full-time capacity, even if it's for a year, to maybe just elevate the LWO some more. But I mean, this match had it all. I don't know how anybody could be disappointed, because Bad Bunny goes over, Damian Priest gets over, you get Savio Vega, you get all the bells and whistles, and you get frickin' Carlito. Tuck, how is this not a match of the year? I mean, I just don't see how it's not.
Well, I agree. I think it should be on the list. This was the perfect match to do it too. You didn't throw in the returns and debuts and random pops during the heavyweight title match. It was during a street fight. It was the perfect gimmick or stipulation to introduce others, to give the LWO the numbers over the Judgment Day. Finn Balor is like kind of real, like some credible threats. It was great.
How about the crowd? Just and that entrance. How many times have we watched that Bad Bunny entrance? I know I'm over 10.
I'm getting there.
Not
I'm
at
getting
10.
close.
What'd you say, Todd?
I'm not at 10.
More?
Twice? 3 times?
Oh, well, maybe I'm just. I guess I'm just the biggest mark here. I know Ryan Voges is with me. That was just a special moment. He debuts one of his songs, and it kind of felt like a concert out there too. You just mix pro wrestling with music, and it's just crazy to sit back here and think this guy is one of the most streamed artists in the entire world, and he goes out here in WWE and puts on one hell of a performance. Just we got to give her
and his fandom of the product shines through too. Like this is not just a paid appearance. Like it means something to him. It feels like, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Lifelong fan. That's what happens when you put someone in the ring that was a lifelong fan and actually seems to care. They're not just there for the money.
So Bad Bunny versus Logan Paul at SummerSlam, anyone?
No. Nope.
Why not?
I don't think that would be a good match. That would have
a hot take.
That would have to be telegraphed from the beginning. Like
but you could still do a stipulation with that and let them just go crazy.
I don't like it. I don't like that idea.
Tuck, do you like my idea? Bad Bunny versus Logan Paul?
Yeah.
He's thinking.
Yeah.
He's here for it. I knew Tucky would be about that life. Oh, Pat says no. So Pat's in agreement with you at least, Ian. You got Pat on your side. I think it would be a spectacle, and I would love to see Bad Bunny perform at SummerSlam. We probably will see Logan Paul there, but Bad Bunny I'm not so sure about. But yeah, that definitely was my match of the night. Was that your guys' match of the night as well?
Oh, yeah, by far.
Yeah, I think we all can agree on that one. But really not a bad match from top to bottom, and having to follow that San Juan street fight is a tough task in itself, and the Bloodline found a way to prevail here in 6-man tag action. They defeated Riddle, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens, all thanks to Solo Sikoa. The cracks in the Bloodline, though, Tuck, they're still showing. We got a lot of interaction between Solo and the Usos, tagging in and tagging out. Solo gets the pin over Riddle, so it protects the tag team champions, but they're continuing this story a little bit. I was surprised to see the Bloodline win. I don't know about you.
I picked Sami, KO, and Riddle as well. That was I think that was my miss of the night. Made it interesting at the end of the night, but I didn't see it coming, but I'm not mad that it happened, if it makes sense.
Like, I agree with you because I think it makes sense from a storyline standpoint.
Yeah.
Ian, how'd you feel about this one?
I liked it only for the fact that you have. So the only reason I'm gonna wipe out the Sami, Kevin, and that whole team. I'm wiping that out of the picture here. The only reason I like that match was Solo and Jay. Jimmy, it seems like that like unknowing and oblivious child in the family that doesn't see anything happening, which I find that captivating. I think Jimmy's doing a great job with that. But the fact that you have Jay and Solo just kind of fighting while they're also winning, it shows that they're still strong as a team, but also shows that they have pure hatred towards each other.
And the Bloodline probably needed this win more than Riddle, Sami, and KO since, 2/3 of that team already have the tag team titles on them, and they're going to be split from this new brand split that we just had. So it makes sense. Ryan Voges actually got this one right. I'm trying to remember which one he got wrong because obviously he only got one wrong because it was part of the OTM Bloodline.
Was it the triple threat, I think? No,
maybe.
He went against Theory.
Or maybe he went Omos.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
I think he went Omos. Steve said it is 1:38 a.m. his time. I work with entertainment, so it was a wedding night. Oh, okay, Steve. I did not know what you do.
Is
so
that
that's
a shocker,
at least good vibes.
for Steve?
No.
That's not a surprise that he works with entertainment. What a guy.
You know what? While we're here and that comment is pulled up, let's make the announcement official here on OTM. SEW Steve will be making his OTM debut for our Night of Champions preview show, people. Let's hear it.
That's breaking news for me.
That's breaking news.
Let's go, baby. We got them. And you know what? Since we're breaking all kinds of news here on OTM episode 145 for the Double or Nothing, Double or No.
Wait, oh, shit.
I can't keep it together. Ian, you're having a kid. No.
Damn it.
Erica Marini will be returning. She just had her birthday. She will be a part of our Double or Nothing preview show. So we are stacking the deck here in the next couple of weeks. Steve says he cannot wait. Let's pull up this comment from Pat before we move on. I'd love to see Solo versus Roman. Is that what they are telling us? Jay has to go through Solo to get to Roman. Then Roman beats Jay. Then we can move on to Cody versus Roman. You know, I don't know if we're going to get Solo versus Roman yet, but I think that's something they could definitely do down the line.
I think where all of this lies is, where does Paul Heyman lie?
Okay. Here we go. Here's some clarification. He means Solo versus Jay. That makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's still the Solo versus Roman thing. I think that's still on the table. It's where does Heyman? Where's his loyalty? Because we've seen with
Tribal Chief,
it's your turn, your time to Solo, and he's been saying that to him. What does that mean? That's the real question I've been having. Because beating Jay, that's not really your time. That's just showing like we're getting out the bad side and the loose parts of the bloodline. I don't see that as a your time kind of thing. Maybe Solo versus Roman.
Maybe. He's definitely climbing the ranks in the bloodline, I guess we could say. He's sort of being positioned right above the Usos. Tucky, what do you think about Pat's comment there? Do you think this is something they're building to, Jay versus Solo Sikoa?
I mean, that would be another pay-per-view you wouldn't need Roman to show up to if you're looking, right? I think that's a compelling story and something to get us by. I would like to see Roman wrestle more.
I was going to ask that question, and he has wrestled more than MJF because I know a lot of AEW diehards will make that comment. Roman Reigns has wrestled more matches, but he still isn't showing up for PLEs, which are more PLEs than pay-per-views in AEW. Ian, how do you feel about Roman Reigns being sort of absent for a few months in between feuds?
I don't care. The guy's been holding the titles for so long. He deserves a break. I've been saying it for a long time. He needs to get a big win and then deserve a break. And he got that over Cody, and now he's getting a break. We are
witnessing a once-in-a-generation type performer. I'm just going to let Roman do what he does. I'm cool with it.
He'll be back and be a fighting champion at some point, and this is just him taking his break.
He needs it. That's for damn sure.
I literally don't think he'll be back, though. I think it's a structured
When do you think he's back?
Oh,
never. I don't know that Roman Reigns will return to a weekly type guy.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I think he's negotiated. No, I don't think I think his negotiated contract ensures that he ain't going to be around, and that's kind of what Triple H pointed to when he introduced the heavyweight title for Raw.
Right.
Roman got himself a great deal with a limited number of appearances.
I totally agree with you there. He definitely will never be a full timer. It's just maybe a match here and there on a PLE would be cool. But beggars can't be choosers, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
One more comment from Steve before we move on to the main event. He said, "I am a fan of the Bloodline friction. Feels to me the Bloodline needs a faction versus faction feud now for their story. I'd like to see the Bloodline versus the OC." And Steve, I would as well. What do you guys think about that?
Yes, but what is Mia? What's her name now?
Mia.
What does she do?
Kick Paul.
She's not going to talk.
Kick Paul.
There we go. I would like to see it, but I don't think OC has any credibility and manpower to take over Bloodline. Credibility.
They have credibility. I was going to say.
I should say manpower. If Bloodline's a good faction, they would just wipe OC away. It wouldn't be even a fight.
Well, it's a good thing it's wrestling and everything is scripted. Just
what?
So you know. Oh shit, guys! Sorry if you're watching live. I broke kayfabe. Sorry. Let's move on to the main event here. Ian's going to leave the show because I just broke his heart right there. Good. Main event, Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. Another good match. Top to bottom, this PLE had a bunch of good matches. Even though I still don't think it should have main evented after what we saw with Bad Bunny and Damian Priest, I think we got what we needed out of this. And Brock Lesnar right now, Tuck, is on a hell of a run with good matches over his past few opponents. He just seems to adjust very well to different styles. And I think he and Cody have really good chemistry, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Cody got something out of Brock here. Order aside, I mean, I think the crowd was still hot enough for it to make it feel relevant and like a big match. The blood spot was planned. We knew we were getting color, or that wasn't crazy that happened. And yeah, I think what I took away from it was like, okay, Cody's in that tournament, but he's not going to be in that tournament, and that's what we got on Monday Night Raw. And that promo from Brock when he grabbed the mic and the camera was real.
It's funny you bring up that promo. Ryan Vogus says the Brock promo on Raw might have been his best ever. Yeah, it felt like a legit shoot going on there. And Vogus also says you could do Solo versus Michin. So there you go.
Well,
Shout out to my brother Ryan Gagliardi. He is watching us right now. Got to acknowledge you, Ryan. Ryan and the family of and Donna, they are about to make the trip to North Carolina for vacation.
Ooh.
So
love it.
Lucky them. I get to deal with work shit. That's right. Somebody's got to watch Jordy,
For real.
Ian will be over, right? Ian, you're going to watch Jordy for a little bit with me.
Yeah, might as well. I'll bring Wyatt too.
Oh, God. Yeah, those are two heifers right there.
Big,
weird.
Big golden retrievers bumping meat, folks.
Thick daddies.
Hey, come on now. Jordy's a girl.
Thick daddies, thick mamas.
There you go. That's better. But yeah, so let's go to the finish because I think some people didn't really like it. I thought it was the perfect way for Cody to win because Brock had that Kimura locked in, Ian. So he was in control, but Cody just found a way to win, outsmarted the beast, I guess you could say, rolling him up for the 3 count to continue this feud. How did you feel about the match? How did you feel about this finish?
The match, decent. I think it again did its job. Brock just basically battered Cody. Brock got busted open, which was something that we didn't see that coming. But the finish, I thought it was perfect because it keeps going, and it kind of pisses off Brock even more because, I mean, he got outsmarted in a submission. Well, not while he was committing a submission, he got pinned. Yeah. Brock has been a UFC fighter before and has basically broken people's arms in an actual octagon against actual fighters.
He's done it in a WWE ring too. I think he legit broke Shawn Michaels' arm before.
That's okay. But I think just from, like, if you really look deep, like, Brock should be pissed. He should be pissed off and want to fight him again. So I love the finish. It keeps it going.
And the story keeps going to Monday Night Raw. I mean, Vogus brought up that promo. Brock Lesnar costing Cody Rhodes an opportunity at the World Heavyweight title, which then leads into kind of what Pat's saying. Cody not winning that triple threat match on Monday Night Raw kind of solidifies he's probably going to face Roman Reigns at next year's WrestleMania. Would you agree with that, Tuck?
I hope it's sooner, but yeah, I could see it.
I hope it's sooner too. And selfishly, I hope it's at SummerSlam, but I don't think so. I think he's right. I think it's going to be happening at WrestleMania in Philadelphia. Steve says, clever finish for the match, as we still don't know why Brock attacked Cody. The story continues. Let's add a gimmick match for Night of Champions. Yeah, I think that would be very fitting because that was just a standard one fall there at Backlash. Yeah. I think we talked about that last week, didn't we, Tuck?
Nope.
I thought we did. I brought up a fight pit one of these weeks. I don't know if it was for this match, but I'd like to bring it back. And it would make sense with Brock Lesnar's history for sure.
I was going to say, I think a submission match would be perfect because you could give Cody the chance to come up with a submission that's like, and makes Brock tap. That would be automatically, wow, that's a new finish for Cody instead of just another crossroads and another crossroads and another crossroads.
Be lonely. That's before Ian's times. He doesn't know that one.
No idea.
I do. That was pretty good. I think the submission match does make sense, but it's also a good way for Cody to pick up a loss just because it's not his strength, So Brock gets one over on him in the second match, and then we have the trilogy at SummerSlam. Probably. I think that's where it could lead to. So I don't hate that. But if it's anything like my GM mode, if you have that submissions match, it ends the feud. So that's it.
But it's a banger of a match if it's a level 5 rivalry.
That's true. And I will beat anybody's ass in my GM mode. If you want to come at me, I will destroy you.
Are
you allowed to play other people?
If you're in the same room as that person, you can't play online with the same people.
By the way, I am beating Gags right now in my GM. I have more fans than you.
I have a created AEW roster. Is that the one you're talking about?
No, no. This is the one that was the original. All right, anyway.
Oh, okay.
I digress.
Yeah. Nonetheless, overall grade for WWE Backlash, Tucky.
A- 91.
Ooh, okay, Ian, what about you?
I said this the night of. I said 91, A-.
This might be high for me. I'm typically one of the lower ones on the panel. I'm going to go 95. I don't think they missed. I think top to bottom, every match was placed perfectly on the card. Maybe you could have swapped Cody in the San Juan street fight, but I have no complaints. I really don't.
The only thing that I had was there were really no surprises besides the trios.
Carlito? Match. Oh, you're talking about results.
Results of a match. Yes, correct. I think the match, what made it good is that the matches were good, even though we all pretty much knew how the matches were going to end.
But the good thing that comes out of it is that most people that did lose, like we said, still got elevated in the loss. And that's why I lean towards an A, close to an A+. This was almost a perfect pay-per-view. It definitely will probably be on my PLE of the year list when we do our third annual OTMEs at the end of the year. But Pat is also going to be giving it an A. It was awesome that it was. But awesome. It was. Oh, we're not doing it again. No. Okay. Let's go to an intermission then. We got one more thing to talk about. We're going to talk about that World Heavyweight title match at Night of Champions, but we got to hear what the listeners are saying about the On the Mark Wrestling podcast.
What's everybody saying about the On the Mark podcast?
It's just insane, and I love it.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
Unlike any other.
It's a great show.
We'll be right back after a brief intermission.
Tucky, how you feeling? I know you ran a marathon. I never even asked you. You want to tell the listeners what happened there?
Absolute fucking disaster.
Is that all you want to leave it at?
No, I'll elaborate. Give me 2 minutes. I'll make it quick. The last 3 weeks of my life have been absolute shit. Dance competition, went out, crushed it, came in second, rigged. But in the middle of that dance, cartwheel into a full split, shotgun goes off in my hamstring. Not great. 9 days out from a marathon, start rehabbing the hamstring, walking on it funny. In doing so, hamstring felt great. Right Achilles, not great. So spent 3 days trying to rehab that. Woke up Sunday, felt pain, and said, this is going to be hard, but if it stays this way, I talked myself into I could do this for 26 miles. Everything hurts after 26 miles. So I should have known it's not going to stay the same. Halfway, I could have turned and made it a half marathon, but my shirt said marathon finisher, not half marathon finisher. So I kept on chugging away. Hurt. I was in pain from the first mile, but through halfway, I was on pace to PR. Took a turnaround at 15 and a half and five, 6 steps after I did this turnaround to cone. It felt like I got struck by lightning from the ground up. And I finished and had severe bruising behind my left knee, top of the calf, and my right Achilles was black and blue. Finished in 4:20, slowest marathon I've ever ran. Absolute fucking miserable day. But it'll get better. I am 6 weeks away from trying to wear that shirt again. So I have put it at the top of my t-shirt drawer. I will see it every time I get one of my 76 wrestling shirts out of that drawer. And Tucky is on a mission. June 17th, Rock Tahoe half marathon, 90 minutes or less. I will do that. And then 2 weeks later, I will be running a 12-hour race, which I have to PR. I've never ran a 12-hour race, so I'm definitely wearing it July 1st if it comes to it. So,
Jeez. So
I'm pissed.
So I guess I got to count you out for the Gags birthday bash on June 17th because you're going to be fucking killing it and getting your new PR, right?
Yeah, I will be in Bristow, Dexter, Oregon, running 12 hours around a 1.05 mile loop. And my wife is going to sit there for 12 hours and watch me. So that's going to be great.
And probably say a couple yes boys, right?
Oh, you know it. Inject it into my veins.
If anybody can bounce back, Ian, it's Tucky, right?
Amen. No, that is very true.
Pat said, "Yikes, man! Hopefully you can hope you can get back to full health soon, man."
Thank you for the kind words. Got 16 miles in on the bike this morning. Legs are on the way back. Achilles now is light green to like mustard yellowish, so we're making progress.
Actually, that's a good sign. Actually, that means it's healing.
Yeah, we're going.
Trust me.
Fair play, Tucky. Absolute warrior. Still going ahead with the marathon. Speedy recovery from Steve.
I'll show you guys the finish video. I look like I was shot. It's not great.
Yeah, share that to the Twitter so everybody can see it. I'm very curious.
Absolutely not. Very embarrassed.
Okay, all right, then don't share it to the Twitter. You know,
I have been humbled, dude. I had myself in the clouds thinking I was going to rock that stuff. I got passed by a 70-year-old chick running a marathon in Fila shoes. So if you want to talk about eating a slice of humble pie, no, like I get it. God, I am not him right now.
You are not him like Carmelo Hayes to see the t-shirt.
Yeah, just like eggs. Him.
You will be. You will be. So last thing here, I guess our main event topic. Let's talk about the World Heavyweight Championship Tournament that kicked off on Monday Night Raw with 2 triple threat matches. We had Seth Rollins, who defeated Shinsuke Nakamura and Damian Priest. And then we had Finn Balor defeat The Miz and Cody Rhodes, thanks to the interference from Brock Lesnar. So Rollins faced Finn Balor in the main event on Monday Night Raw in front of a lousy crowd there, wherever they were. So he now will face the winner of Edge, AJ Styles, and Rey Mysterio, and the other triple threat being Austin Theory, Sheamus, and Bobby Lashley. This is happening Friday night on SmackDown. So we will know Seth Rollins' opponent here in 24 hours or so. So let's hear it, guys. You see those 2 triple threats right there. Who do you think wins each one, Tucky? And who's going to be facing Seth Rollins at Night of Champions?
Well, Edge versus Styles versus Rey is an interesting one to me. I think I go with Styles there to give him a push. But I could see the argument for Edge. Rey is my third pick there. So I go Style, Edge, Rey in that order with Styles going over. Theory versus Sheamus versus Lashley. I think Lashley takes that one. And then I've got Lashley going over Styles for Rollins versus Lashley, Night of Champions.
Okay, I didn't see your predictions going that way, but I like it. We got some predictions before you go, Ian. Pat says Edge. Another vote from Edge from SCW Steve. As Paul Heyman says, that's not a prediction. That's a spoiler. Ian, are you agreeing with the comment section, or do you like what Tuck's saying?
Nope. Just like what Patrick said, I think Edge comes out of his trios, and I think Lashley goes out of his. I think he pins Theory. He gets that little win over him. He loses the match against Edge, goes to the finals. But the thing is, Edge has that backstory of when he originally retired, he had big gold, but he had to relinquish it. So he never lost it. I think that builds a perfect story. And if that happens, I think that feud between Rollins and Edge could keep going for a long time over that belt, and no one's going to complain.
And if that's the last feud you get out of Edge and then he retires,
perfect.
He can't really go out against a better opponent.
But I think he needs to hold that title at some point, whether that's beating Rollins or coming back throughout that feud and winning the title and then retiring while he has that title. I think he needs to have the title at some point. It's that perfect story that's been, it's been 13 years now. Drop that belt.
Yeah. It's been quite some time. I love a good story. I've talked about that numerous times on this podcast. I buy into good storytelling, and I think that Edge story is what is going to be told. I agree with the comments from Pat and Steve and you, Ian. I think Edge is victorious there in that first triple threat. I like the Bobby Lashley pick from the both of you, and I think that then sets up when you have Edge versus Bobby in the main event. Maybe Theory cost Bobby that match, and that's how Edge gets the win to go on to face Seth Rollins. I don't know if Edge needs a world title run. I do like that pitch that you had there, Ian. I wouldn't be mad if that happens by any means, but I think Seth Rollins versus Edge at Night of Champions is just one hell of a match for the Saudi crowd. So that's my prediction as well. But so let's go to that World Heavyweight title match no, we're going to save that for the predictions. I was going to ask for your predictions at Night of Champions, but we don't need to do any spoilers here. Anything else you guys want to add about the World Heavyweight Championship?
I do want to ask you guys, how do you feel about the credibility of this title? Do you think this pushes anybody? I mean, it's going to push somebody, but when you compare it to Roman with the 2 titles on the other brand, and he's holding the titles captive, do you see it as a second title to it, or do you see it as a world title? Gags.
No, I'll let Tuck take that one first.
Okay.
I do see it as a world title. It's in my head, it's the Raw title and the SmackDown title. You know, in regards, I don't. You call it the Universal title. You know, is that the premier champion? He's got the reign. I'm interested to see how it looks when Roman loses his titles. If it then elevates the 2 to a similar status, I do think that Roman's title is elevated right now, but I don't think that diminishes the new title coming.
Well, the thing is, though, Roman holds 2 titles. From what we know, he holds 2 different titles, like completely separate titles. Yeah. So they would have to merge it at some point, right? Or
which they may.
One.
We don't know yet.
Right.
I would assume they would merge the titles, but to go to your question, Ian, I think it's like 1A, 1B situation. Like, obviously, everybody is viewing Roman as the guy.
Right.
But if you have what we are predicting, Seth Rollins versus Edge, I think either guy is a world champion type guy. You know, like Seth has won the world title. Edge has won numerous world titles. They are credible enough to elevate that title and make it seem almost even. So I don't believe this as a consolation prize by any means. Ian, do you have an opinion on that?
That's the thing is what happened, what's going on in my brain is the words that Triple H said about this title is that since Roman can't defend it or he won't defend it, it just screams consolation. That just screams like, we can't touch this guy. So here, go play with this toy while this guy plays with these toys. It's all jumbled up. I would like to believe it as a big picture title. And again, it depends on who holds it first, which again, Rollins and Edge, those are 2 big champions, 2 big inaugural champions. So, I don't know. It depends on how they play it out. Because also it's supposed to be a Raw title, but now you have triple threats on SmackDown. It's a mess.
Well, like Pat's saying, if Edge is on SmackDown and Seth is on Raw, how can that feud continue? Maybe, and like he said, would we see a trade Edge for Cody? And that way Cody can get back to Roman. I think that's something. I like that idea, Pat. Tino's time going with Edge would be awesome to see. That it would. Pat seems to be agreeing with you, Ian. He said right now it's a consolation prize, but will be built bigger as storylines are started and continuing. Yeah, kind of like what we've been saying. That thought of being a consolation prize will fade. Absolutely. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. Let's take it to the MVM of OTM. We end this way every single episode. It is the most valuable mark of the On the Mark Wrestling podcast. We went to the private chat on this one. We had a lot of interaction, a lot of feedback tonight. We greatly appreciate you all stopping by. But we got ourselves a new MVM because Ryan Matthews did not show at all tonight because he is a fraud. So we have an new MVM of OTM, our guy, P-A-T, Pat, in the house.
Or is it the killer?
Kind of designed his own title, by the way.
That is true.
Can we let's show some love. Pat not only designed a new MVM belt, which I might have to put on the background here going forward, he also got a PLE title belt. So he gets to represent the belt that he designed. It's very fitting, guys.
You know it.
So congrats to Pat. Well-earned performance from him in the chat for episode 145. Guys, it was a pretty hectic show for me. I had a lot going on behind the scenes. Ian coming in to, co-host this episode. Any final remarks before we sign off, Ian?
Thanks for having me on last second. I know I'm a part-timer. I had to make my time at some point. So made it back after a really disappointing day. But you know what? After this, my day got better.
On the way up. There we go.
On the way up.
That's what we like to hear there, Ian. Tucky, why don't you send us home?
Ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you're following us on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram at Pot on the Mark. You know what I'm saying? Next week, we're here at the same time, same place. Visit the onthemarkwrestlingpodcast.com for all your merch needs. No discount code right now, but you could still support. Like, if you pay more money for the products, we get more money. So if you're a real fan, now is the time to buy full price. That's a discount of 0% off. And if you're it's a pretty decent deal, because
a steal.
Because our audience, we're hustlers. We don't need handouts. We grind. You know what I'm saying? And that's a testament to the listeners that they don't need a discount code to buy our merch.
That's right.
Yeah. Book update real quick.
Let's hear it.
Yes. The book itself, text is done. The draft is ready. Cover is on first redraft. So outlines, shapes, and sizzles. I have to send, we're doing bios and back covers. So hoping maybe by Double or Nothing, the book might be done. I don't know if it'll be available. It's a process. I got to figure all that stuff out. But Food Fights, Volume 1, Pizza Party, hitting Amazon sooner rather than later. I'm excited about that.
Ooh, I can't wait to buy one.
I like that.
Apparently, I apparently have a kid on the way, so I'll have to buy one for my kid that's coming.
Oh, yeah.
We had a lot of breaking news on this episode. It was quite the ride for sure. But I think it's time to sign off. So Tucky, say your infamous words.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. Thank you for listening to the On the Mark Wrestling podcast.